Welcome to PulleyFP, the channel where we help you gain leverage in your business to free up time and resources. In this video, we're going to be talking about your LinkedIn automation strategy and how you can efficiently and effectively prospect on LinkedIn and the 5 tools that you're going to need to do this effectively. So when we think about prospecting on LinkedIn, there's really 5 categories of software that you need to consider. I'm going to talk you through the 5 softwares that I use and show you how you can use them. But that being said, you can kind of plug and play other softwares that can just adequately do the same processes. You'll just want to make sure you use whatever one you're comfortable with. But there's really 5 categories of software that you're going to need to be able to prospect on LinkedIn efficiently. The first category of software that you're going to need is a type of software that can actually find those prospects for you on LinkedIn so that you're not having to manually go about doing that. The second type of software you need is a way to actually automate LinkedIn so that you can reach out to people at scale quickly and effectively. The third thing you're going to need is a software that can essentially scrape the emails from LinkedIn to be able to pull those emails so that way you can email these prospects with cold or warm emails as well. The fourth software you're going to need is a software that can take those emails that you gain from your prospects and actually generate warm or cold emails to that audience. The fifth software you're going to need, I find, is one of the most important softwares, just because a lot of times when you're thinking about having a LinkedIn prospecting strategy, right now we're all bombarded with thousands of different prospects reaching out to us on LinkedIn, and it's really hard to know who's worth talking to and who's not. So a way to personalize your cold outreach at scale is very effective, and it's something that's going to really differentiate you amongst all the noise. So having a software that can really help you personalize your cold outreach, I think, is going to be extremely important. So let's take a look at the actual softwares that I use in my process, so that way you can see some of the softwares and how they're used, and you can take and adapt these to your own processes. All right, so these are the softwares I use for automating LinkedIn. So the first one is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So this one's actually native software for LinkedIn. So it's about $65 a month, depending on what size you need. For annual plan, monthly plan is about $80. So it's not the cheapest software, but it is incredibly valuable. So to take a look, basically what it does is essentially allows you to search for prospects through LinkedIn. So for example, you can type in, let's just say, I want to talk to owners, and I want those owners to be in the United States and be owners of 1 to 11 to 50, and I want them to be second degree connections so they know people I know. All right, well, that gave me 20,000 plus business owners. So say I'm trying to sell software or whatever that I'm trying to sell, I can go through this list and you can narrow it down as much as you want. So for example, you can easily go to, hey, I only want to talk to owners. I only want to, talk to people in a specific city. You can really narrow this down. But moral of the story is this really narrows down the list, and then you can actually go in and either message them directly and manually through here, or you can automate using this as well. So once you have the list, then what you can do is use a software like OctopusCRM, which is essentially a Google plugin that allows you to basically go in and automate the connection requests through LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So you can, for example, have this list of, say, 11,000 people and start systematically going through and reaching out and connecting. And I have another video directly on Octopus that I'll link right here in this video, but this is another valuable software. So this is the second software I use, and this is actually taking that Sales Navigator and actually automating it and creating a funnel where you can connect with people, message them, visit their profile, and do that all automated. The third software I use is called Lead Leaper. So Lead Leaper is a way to get people's emails. So for example, I only recommend doing this with people that you've already connected with and sent messages through OctopusCRM. Otherwise, it'll be just a little too spammy. you want to be careful with cold email anyways, and using a email scraper, just because obviously there's privacy concerns and things like that. So just make sure you respect people's privacy and respect people's wishes if they want to not hear from you, so on and so forth. But what you can do is, just like with Octopus CRM, in Sales Navigator, you can use Lead Leaper, which acts as a bot and goes through this list and scrapes for people's emails. So when you're doing that, what I recommend is just use your first degree connections. And then that way you're only basically scraping the emails of people that you know. So again, you can go through a list, and there's several different ways to get that. But basically, once you have a list, you start this bot, and then they'll ultimately start grabbing all the emails from those clients. That you can download those emails as a CSV file and then input it into the next software, which is Reply.io. So Reply.io is a cold email software that allows you to email people in an automated fashion, but it also is a way to, has a service where if they respond, it'll automatically take them off the list and things like that. So you don't worry about spamming people and things like that. So Reply.io is a great software for building automated campaigns through cold email. So for example, you can have email number 1 that goes out, and then you can upload all the email addresses that you get from Lead Leaper into Reply.io with your cold outreach campaigns. For example, say you have a day 1 email where you just say like, hey, my name is Josh Bennett. I'm do XYZ. I'm looking to connect. Like, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to grab coffee, or whatever you want to put in that email. Then you can follow up in say 3 days and just say, hey, I didn't hear back from you. Let me know if you're free to get coffee, so on and so forth. So it allows you to automate that, where all you have to do is basically upload the list, and then the emails take care of themselves. So this is a great tool to save you a ton of time, and you can really use this with anything. Like, even if you just have consistent emails, like say you have a client that you need to follow up with because they tend to be unresponsive, well, what you can do is you can just have email sequences in here that automatically follow up. So when the client responds, they don't get any more emails from you, but at least that way you're dripping on them without having to do it manually. So this is a really cool tool, both from a cold sales prospect, but just in terms of saving you a bunch of time regardless. So the last tool is Loom. So I've talked about Loom in other videos, and I'll reference that video here, but Loom is a great tool to personalize. So basically, if you're doing all this automation, you want some sort of way to stand out, and Loom is a great way to do that. So for example, here I record a personalized video where basically I just send the link, it stores the video here, so you can just copy the link and then input that into either your cold automated email or your cold LinkedIn outreach. Just that way you're adding sort of personal touch to automation. So you don't necessarily have to reference their name, but it can be something evergreen, like, hey, I'm Josh, here's what I do. I'd love to connect for coffee. I find like LinkedIn, never really get to network as well as you do, offline. So let me know if you're interested. So it can be something as simple as that, where you don't necessarily reference the name, you just tell a little bit about what you're doing, why you're reaching out. And this gets a lot of really good feedback just because it helps you stand out amongst the crowd. Even if it's automated, it's still a slight personal touch, which just is going to be much different than what most people are doing. So I highly recommend using Loom, and it's actually free to use. You can get a little bit more customized for like $5 a month, but all in all, it's a really good software. So highly recommend using Loom as well. So these are the 5 softwares that I recommend with a full LinkedIn automation, which is, finding the prospects, emailing them, getting their email, sending messages to them, and also personalization. So all these things play together in creating one really polished automation sequence in terms of prospecting. Hopefully you found this video valuable. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe. We are going to start putting out more and more content around how to scale your business, how to leverage, basically freeing up time and resources, and taking your business to the next level. So make sure you subscribe and like this video if you got some value. Thanks.